post with A and C. Right, I mean, I think that should be part of this. So if he's not, I mean, if he's made changes as to what he's providing to us, I think that we need to definitely get with him and figure out, show an itemized list and now of the change of plans as to where our money's going.
Sure.
And if he's having people meet with him, then I think we need all the dates and times and scheduling and all that, and part of his committee or whatever.
Okay. The top portion would be the projected tax rate, and that's very important to remember because I don't think it's gone through the board review yet. The levy was added, additional revenue was about $318,000. That's projected to put 16 cents on the tax rate. The current tax rate is $4.73. It would increase it to $4.89. The figure down below is what the current tax liability is for $100,000, $200,000, and $300,000 home at the tax rate of $4.73. After the increase, it was just for the levy. It's projected to go up to $4.89. The building bonds, based on a $9.8 million bond, it would add. Keep in mind the bond rate is backloaded, so initially the rate fluctuates for the amount of the tax rate. You can see that in the amortization schedule. But I used a figure of 82 cents. That would add, go from a current tax rate of 473 to 555. And the tax liability would be $1,848.08. Life safety bonds, those are qualified school construction bonds. What that's based on at $1.4 million. If that was bonded, that would add 8 cents onto the tax rate. It would go from 473 to 481. If all of these figures are bonded or extended, it would add $1.06 onto the tax rate. Keep in mind with the levy amount, if there is no tax caps implemented, then that amount would not be levied additionally every year. And if the life safety bonds were paid out of reserve, then those bonds would not be sold as well. So this is very tenuous at best, but the tax liability for sure on a $9.8 million building bond would be 82 cents.
Is that include the homeowner's exemption being taken out?
I'm going off the amortization schedule. I'm assuming yes, it would.
I think it is.
Okay,
I think that's one of the home that we are renting out.
I would have to double check.
Do they have that included?
this also doesn't include the 4.1 million for health life safety?
No, you wouldn't bond the $4.1 million unless the referendum failed. Then you would not bond the $9.8 million because you don't have authorization to sell those bonds. So you would transition to the $4.1 million life safety bonds to either replacement or repair.
And then the EAV on this amortization, that's just basing it at just the same EAV.
He put it on a flat EAV with no growth on it, which could be, the EAV right now is growing at 3%, about 3%. So obviously, as that EAV would go up, the tax rate would go down.
I would hope within 20 years, our property values will more than
It should.
But if also then like, if the farm values go down in the next few years, then they will have to raise,
Then the EAV would go down, or the VAV would grow as quickly as it is now. 30% of our tax base is agriculture. And certainly, the farm assessment will slow down over the next 3 years. What it will slow down to is unknown.
So as of right now, looking at this, when the bonus paid off, it's going to be 17 million for the regional.
$16,997,300. $16,997,391 would be the cost of all levies.
With the levies and everything.
It's the real cost of it, interest and principal. Based on today's interest of 4.5%.
It's, no. Look at this, 20.
Now it's
16
like,
could be,
that is just for
First.
legal. So with the bond and then replace the roof on high school, that's
$1,459,524.03, provided that's bonded with qualified school construction. If we don't get the award, then you're gonna go back to probably a 4.5% interest rate. And I do not have an emergency schedule for that at this time.
so we're talking overall.
18.4 is what I have.
1.4.
We could.
If we don't get the, if we don't get the.
That's true.
but basically you're looking at 18 million for the referendum.
No, no, you're looking for a new building based on a $9.8 million bond. The total levy would be $16,997,391.
they'd be able to wrong.
But it's not 4.1. If we could 4.1, we would be 4.1, or it could be more.
And I would, and part of this process will include a presentation from a bond underwriter. So. First Midland, yeah. That's what we've used in the past.
We've all been 12/2010, approved as an A over the first January 2016 A for excellent contracts, the April 4th, 5th, 2016 Farm Bureau leadership contracts, and 13, 16, 2016 state category contracts.
We're sorry, we.
Roll call vote, Wheeler,
Yes.
Stickle,
Yes.
Fargo's absent. Kimball. Cusack.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, anything else?
How long? 20.
I just wanted to point out on this last piece of paper that you gave us, that those figures for the current tax liability, that's to your school district, that's not your total tax bill. You will also pay tax bills to your township, to your town if you live
That's
in a town.
correct. That's just the school portion.
Yeah, the airport that we don't use, all of those things also will be included in that total tax bill. This is what you're going to pay the school district if you have a $100,000 home or a $200,000 home. I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah, a question. What are you getting for your 9.8 million? Is there a blueprint on this thing or not? Or just a
Yeah.
couple of generic computer renderings? I mean, I've done enough of
That's
this
what they've been
stuff.
talking about tonight.
I mean,
Guys coming January 28th to talk to them.
I guess how can you put an estimate on something without having any kind of blueprint?
I'm sorry?
How can you have an estimate on something?
That's a good question. What architects have, they have software that they can develop a building plan per square feet.
Software doesn't do anything. I've done this a long time. For federal
I gotta be honest with you,
municipalities and whatnot,
I'm not gonna argue with you.
no,
I can
I'm just
understand.
asking. I mean, I guess my big question is, how much would it cost the school district to get a blueprint from the architect? I think that'd be a better way to go. So just a-
$30,000.
How much?
$30,000.
30,000?
And that's what they'll be developing.
Okay.
It will not be an full engineered drawing. It will be a rendition, an elevation, and a floor plan.
So nothing that goes inside of it, all the guts? No HVAC, no electrical, no nothing? What would that cost? Get that?
I have no idea.
Maybe that's something that you might want to look into.
Last architect we had when we first started this process wanted $160,000 up front for full engineering drawing. They're expensive.
Yeah, and that's not going on top of this. Would that be, is that included in this
Well, that
9.8?
includes A&E costs, architects and engineering, which is about 7% of the entire job.
Okay. I'm just a question. I just
Sure,
wonder
yeah.
what it costs. I mean, I've done projects that I've had a spec book this thick.
Right.
And normally, you can't really ballpark it, but ballparking doesn't do anything when you're looking at a project this big. I mean, this 9.8 could turn into 12.5, 14. It could get
No,
crazy.
there's no,
It's called
what happens
change
is, the language on the ballot will be for $9.8 million. And what that is, it's a request for an authorization to sell bonds up to $9.8 million. If
Okay.
it comes under budget, then the district will not sell bonds totaling $9.8 million. If it goes over,
Yeah, where's that?
let's say up to 11,
Yeah.
they're not authorized to sell bonds at $11 million.
So where does that money come from then?
You,
We're not just.
So,
the 9.8 million,
No.
no, if it goes over. If it goes over, where does that money come
they gotta
from?
go back to the drawing board and get it down to the 9.8 million.
Didn't happen here.
Didn't happen here,
Didn't happen in this building right down here you put
right
on.
down there.
Right down there, didn't happen.
Then what did happen?
They
They
went
did.
and went and asked taxpayers for more money, so they could
Sure
finish
did.
the construction.
It sure did.
Wasn't done.
I'm amazed that you were able to capture that revenue,
Well,
do it.
the building wasn't done.
What are you gonna do with a half-done building?
At all.
That's where we sit, right down there.
I guess that's my big question, I mean, is, you know,
And you know, I'll be happy to answer any question you have that I know the answer to.
yeah.
That's what I'm here for. But the only thing I can't get into is the philosophy of this. I think everybody here knows how I feel about it, but that's.
Well, actually, this is the first time that I've been to one of these, so I'm
But that's
just kind of trying to
neither here
feel,
nor there. Is if
I'm
you have
just trying to get some
a question
information, is all
that I
I'm
can
trying to
answer
do.
for you, I'll be happy to supply it.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to do, like I said, first time I've been to a
Sure.
board meeting in my entire life, and I'm damn near 40 years old, so.
Hopefully you'll come back for more.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a grasp of what I will be voting on,
Sure.
so.
Okay, or you have something and you wanna ask and you think about it, okay, let somebody know, all right, so we can try and get that answer for you.
Okay, I was wondering about,
Or stop by.
overages and whatnot, if it does go over.
And that goes, that's anybody.
Without having some kind of a blueprint of actually, to actually get a full grasp about what's actually really happening versus a computer
They
rendering of
usually don't
a
develop
building.
full engineer drawings until they have authorization to sell those
Okay.
bonds, because they won't get paid.
Okay.
Somebody else?
Some information stuff that's being, given us here, is there anywhere on the school board site that you guys are posting this specifically? Because I've
We will be.
Okay, I've been there a couple times, and it's really hard, especially like last time referendum, I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
So I
That's
think
why we're.
one of the big things is, yeah, if we can get it out there, people can really help.
Yeah, we will have a new website in 6 weeks, but some of this will be posted before that website is developed. I think it's important that this information, any information, including the drawings, get out to the community.
Who's taking the lead on that? Post information, I like that one point.
Gary will. I think he'll need to.
I would think this is a priority,
Sure.
something we would try to work on for 6 weeks.
And I think what the board's gonna have to do is authorize what gets posted on the website. I mean, you need to work with the architect when he's here on the 28th, and maybe that's something you want to discuss with him when he's here. And as soon as you decide what you want on there, I can have Gary post it, and it's out to the public.
I'd like to make sure that we agree on the same time order. It's all, yes, that's.
Right.
I think it should be given to the board first for review prior to.
I agree, but keep in mind, there might be things that need to be posted, and in order to give it to the board, then you would have to have a school board meeting. I'm fine with that, but I
I'm
just,
fine with it too. I mean, we're elected to do this job.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so I mean, I don't have a problem counting extra. I don't, because
all right,
we're here to do the best we can for the district, period.
Can you go back? We'll have to make sure people have a chance. We got the. Yep.
There's some that believe that if they have the homestead exemption and the tax freeze, that their taxes will not go up if the referendum goes through.
That's a lie.
That's not true. If the referendum goes through, regardless of whether or not they have the homestead exemption or the tax freeze, their taxes will go up.
Absolutely,
Correct.
no one here has ever suggested.
Okay.
You want to make a comment?
I think that Jason and Ryan answered most of the questions that Stephanie, had, and it seemed to be satisfied her right now, so I don't think we need to work anything right now.
The worst case scenario for $100,000 house, if the referendum passes, and your first on that school is 1928, correct? Is the $1,928?
worst case scenario.
So that's if everything passes with the levy, that's the worst case.
Worst case scenario.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I don't want to put that.
To the
Unless-
school.
Just, I guess
Well,
that's
that
in the
is-
school, yeah.
Just for the school.
We can't read it.
That's good to say that, because people need to know what that figure is.
What was that?
Right, it's the
You might have to
$200
point it out. Yes, Wiley.
When do you think you would have teacher input, time for that?
Chuck has talked about that. I would assume he was doing that with the general information session, but he said he wanted teachers in on that. So,
We don't have any dates.
well, I don't know who does either, but I know when it comes on the 28th, that would be something. But I know he does, he said it.
Who can facilitate that? Yeah, you have your teachers that want to meet with Chuck, especially since he's not going to come down here for these other meetings. Is that something that we can facilitate with?
Mine goes almost
I
1,000.
mean, I
Goes over
would like
1,000.
to hear what the teachers have to say. They're the ones in the buildings all the time, and again, that's kind of gives us more acumen to what they're dealing with. And what they need. I would love to hear what they have.
Is it appropriate for us to have like a piece of paper in the lounge
so you
where
have
teachers can
this
jot
right here.
down thoughts and ideas?
You know, roughly.
Like I
Yeah,
could
50
just,
bucks
we
or
could
so.
just put it in the lounge and say, what, things
Yes.
would you
Guys
like
in
to
here.
make sure?
Especially
screwed.
if you know that you wouldn't have to bring those in and ask.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, we're not doing yes or no or anything, just individual
This
teachers
guy
have
here.
a chance to just jot their
Yeah.
thoughts down.
As long as you're not on the clock.
So we could do it, before 8 and after 4.
I'm in between these two.
Okay. Well, so that's
I
like,
think so.
well, so it could be in the lunch,
So
in
the
the
guy has
lounge.
a $6,000.
Just Okay, so I'll make sure it's not during class.
60,000, say.
I would have to ask our attorneys that question.
Hey, up all day, or if it has to be taken down and put
Nothing
back up?
else is in there that over $1,000.
I would not have any activities related to the
Okay.
referendum on school property during school hours at all.
That's why I asked.
Better safe than sorry.
Right.
You're working with taxpayers' facilities on the taxpayers' dime. That's
So,
something that-
okay, so like after 4 o'clock, then we
That's
could,
something that you should probably not even do on school property.
not even like, I mean, all I'm saying
Not
is
even
that
on school property. No.
you're asking for input
Not on school
for like
property.
how many outlets a room might need for technology, that's all we're talking about.
I have no
Okay.
idea. And you'd have to ask the architect that question. And I would encourage you to come here on the 28th and maybe ask them that.
I think she's saying that that's the input where, you know, the standard might be you need one every so many feet, and they're realizing, no, you actually need more.
Right.
And then put it-
Well, you're asking for teacher input, you like, currently, we have very little outlets in many rooms, so like, a teacher might drop down, please make sure there's adequate, number of outlets for our computers, and that's the kind of input I'm talking
Set up a
about.
blog or something along those lines where you can make it virtually, and then you don't even have to worry about it.
Ah,
We have
Right.
spreadsheets.
Set up a wiki or something
a
like that.
wiki or a
Teachers can Use on their own.
Blackboard, okay.
Make it simple, that way you don't have.
And
to
then they
worry
can
about
type it in at home and not be at
That's right.
school, okay, I
I
understand.
could probably answer your question on that right there.
Oh,
Most architects have a program that will actually draw out the electrical program, and it all goes to the International Electrical Code. So everything goes to code,
okay,
and that's how most things are typically are drawn up.
okay, thank you.
We'll go back to that phone, or is that not taking this?
No, because that's a school.
Use your own.
Keep it away from
Make a Facebook page, something like that. That's all it has to be.
We'll figure out a way to do it totally away from school hours. But you're asking for input, you know, so,
So that's not,
It-
is that,
like,
you want
that's not.
information to Chuck, is that something that you should be willing, you should be able to provide? So in the future, we're gonna want community input in general. How do we take community input without, you know, at some point, I think you have to use some degree of school resources. For instance, just meeting in the school, that's a school resource, right?
But that's a open meeting, so that's okay.
That's not during school
Yeah, that's not
instruction.
during
not during
yeah,
the
yeah.
regular day. We can lease or allow anybody in the community to use our buildings. We have a policy.
So, all right, so any materials that we would want to share with the public, any printed materials that would need to come from Chuck probably then?
If it's informational only, we review it.
That,
Roughly
okay.
$4,000.
And it doesn't
Probably 6%.
have a yes or no connotation to it.
This was just the school.
Anything
So
else?
you already had, we assessed.
I'm getting angry.
Yes,
Can I go back to talking football for a moment? Or are you just staying strictly? When we had one of the other open meetings over in the gym, and it was voluntarily put out there that you were gonna have all these football games possibly with Elgin, Aurora, Ottawa, all these schools that was the same distance away, now all of a sudden we're getting this roadblock put up saying that it's a 3-hour bus ride. That's pretty much the same as what it's been the last few seasons. Gas prices are coming down, so your transportation cost is gonna be less. They already leave early, So leave it early shouldn't be an issue, but it just seems like there's once again another obstacle that's thrown out there against football players. And I just feel that we need to give these kids every opportunity to become a team, stay a team, and move forward, and we can be just as good and strong as any other athletic program out here. Thank you.
Can I circle back to Mr. Jansen and the scoreboard? That I was the one using the scoreboard when I decided to freak out in the middle of the game. So it's a little unnerving. But there's at least one local business that would be willing to purchase advertising space to help offset costs. So I don't know if that can factor, I don't know how that factors to the board. But we would, I've talked to a couple of businesses that might be interested in something, but I mean, if Peekskill would gladly help offset some costs, if that would help get something updated that doesn't wig out in the middle of the game.
Yeah, Adam, I wrote the same thing down back when I was on the board. We approached different companies to donate the scoreboards to us, if we would advertise for them for a certain length of time. No alcohol, but, Pepsi, Coke, somebody was providing, I think, one of these scoreboards. So.
Pepsi and Coke have a much deeper budget in the pizza field.
Yeah.
Just to FYI.
Yeah.
If you want to go to them first, I'm not offended. They got a lot more money than me. This comes out of my pocket, so I'm going
There
down.
are resources out there that will, you might want to look into.
Thank you, Travis, for making that. That's a great gesture to the and other businesses.
For Pepsi, but
Last call. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion. It's before then.
Second. Marilyn?
Thank you all very much.
All in favor, say aye.
They already got recessed in the rural residential committee.
Yeah, I know. When that doesn't work out, yeah. Another one.